I started posting to my channel regularly in June of 2020, and from then until August 2022, my channel sat in a stagnant state of slow growth. I was only posting videos on topics based on what interested me, but when I realized my numbers hadn't grown much, I decided to reevaluate what would be the best course moving forward for me and my channel. I went from about 35,000 to 40,000-ish views every 28 days, with the subscribership sitting at around 350 to 400 every 28 days, to 185,000 views and about 1,700 subs every 28 days, because I started to implement small little changes. Relatively speaking to you, wherever you are in your journey, that's either a lot or a little, but either way, I want to share with you what I did to get these numbers to jump. And it didn't include doing any extra work. Well, maybe a little extra brain work, but nothing that you can't do. And if you stick around, I'm gonna share with you my favorite, most time-saving method that has dramatically helped my channel increase in pretty much everything. And that's what we're gonna cover today on the Film Alliance. This channel is a filmmaking and camera channel, and up until August 2022, I was aware of the slow progress that I was making, and so I became diligent in becoming more efficient with my time and smarter with how I approach this channel. Before we get too far into it, let's start off with a problem that I quickly encountered as my YouTube channel started to grow, or not grow fast. One of the problems that I first encountered with my channel is I would make a video about the ZV-1 and I would get a large fan base who surrounded the ZV-1, and then I would post a video about the ZV-E10 a few weeks later, and the whole ZV-1 crowd wouldn't be interested in the ZV-E10, and so the numbers would be down. So you can imagine that for a minute. I was building these little fan bases and I wasn't able to satisfy each one of them because they were all there for different cameras. I also noticed when I first started doing versus video, like the ZV-1 versus the ZV-E10, then I had better interaction, so I started to figure out where do these two groups of people start to merge, and versus videos was how I was able to solve that problem. But then a new camera would come out, like the Sony FX30, and when I start posting videos about that, I would almost have to start a whole new fan base of people who like the FX30. And I quickly found out that the ZV-1 crowd and most of the ZV-E10 crowd didn't really care about this new camera, because the camera that they owned was different than the FX30. So as you can see, I was building these little small groups of interest, but there was really no crossover. In fact, you might be one of these people. So here I was wondering if it was even worth for me to continue to put time and effort into this thing if it's not really producing much of anything for me. Then something clicked around August 2022, and it's not just one thing, it's multiple things. And here's my approach. The first thing I changed was how I approach making videos. I used to just randomly think of a video idea and then start working on it and then posting it without any prior thought or research. That was fun and everything, and I learned a lot during that time, but some of those video topics didn't really do anything for me. Either the thumbnail wasn't good enough for the people, or they just decided not to click on it because they were interested in something else. But either way, when I was getting those 10 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 on my analytics dashboard, it was pretty disheartening. I also had a lot of stuff going on in my life, which was preventing me from being able to post videos on a regular basis and spend much time making these videos. But then I started to do a little research on how to research video topics, and I quickly realized that I should be looking into videos and topics that people are interested in before I even start to script. And so that's what I started to do. I went into YouTube search bar and started typing in cameras and camera gear and whatever was in my niche to see what YouTube would auto-populate. That made it pretty clear on what videos I should create because people were actively searching for those video topics, and so that's what I started to do. But I didn't see great growth just from doing that, just a little spike. And that brings us to our next point, and that's better thumbnails. Maybe it was from a lack of time or thought that actually goes into this stuff, but I quickly realized how important thumbnails are. Up until August 2022, I would just pull a screenshot from the video itself and then try to make it look better in Photoshop. But when I started to actually think about the thumbnail before I put the camera away and started to take the actual pictures of whatever gear or camera that I'm holding while I still have my camera set up. But since then until now, I've actually started to think about the thumbnail long before I even start to script. In fact, I even made the thumbnail to this video before I started the script. But I do think what's more important than the thumbnail is the title. Now the thumbnail isn't everything, because if you don't title your video correctly, then people won't even search for your video unless the algorithm pushes your video out over tons of people's feeds. So you have to make sure that your title in the video is correct and well. Something that has keywords in it for whatever the video topic is about, which you've already done the research on knowing what you want your video to be about. Around that time of August 2022, I was going over my workflow and trying to figure out better ways to make the whole creation process faster. Usually I would spend a couple hours on the script and film an hour, and then I would edit my video over a course of a couple days whenever I got to it, adding some B-roll as it came available. Like if I talked about something, then I would just make a note, and then I would go out and get the B-roll and then put it over my timeline in Final Cut Pro. And then of course doing all the post workflow things like tags and title and thumbnail. But one of the most time-saving methods or pieces of gear that I've bought is getting a mouse that has multiple buttons on it so I can edit faster. I don't even know the name of the mouse that I bought, but I'll leave it in the description in case you're interested. But basically it gives you several different buttons that you can click, such as trimming left or scrolling right, so that I don't have to take my hands off of the mouse and put it onto a keyboard to continue the workflow. Even more recently, I think during Black Friday, I purchased a tour box, which gives me even more functionality. So figuring out all the ways to edit faster and then save time, which creates more time to start on the next video. I also purchased a software called Toolbolt, which basically removes all of the pauses and silent spaces in the talking head shot like this, which definitely saves a lot of time because you don't have to go back through your edit and remove all those silent spaces. All of these small changes put together actually save me a ton of time on the whole video creation process. Another thing that I do is I want to stand out from everybody else who makes videos in this niche. So I make sure that I'm educated about whatever topic or piece of camera gear that I'm making a video about. A lot of times when companies send me products, I'll ask them to send it to me 30 or even 60 days in advance so that I can really test it out and try it, and making sure that I can stand behind it before I tell you guys about it. I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about even before I start scripting. And if that means I have to go out and film with the camera for a day, then that's what I'm gonna do. Because the last thing that I wanna do is pretend like I know something I don't know and not actually have any experience shooting with it and just reading off the specs. You may have noticed that I'm constantly trying to push the limits with my video edits. And that brings me to the next thing, which is I really started making my videos differently than others in my niche. Like, you never know what you're going to get with my channel as far as production goes. I try to take a different angle and make my videos to be like mini movies, if that makes any sense. I've been trying to add a hook or something that makes people go, wait, I want to see more about what this guy is doing. My videos are like ridiculous, and I think there's an undertone of humor. How could anyone be that serious about this camera gear or that camera? But it works. I tried humor in the past and someone told me I'm not funny, so now I just go the dry, cryptic humor route. I'm not gonna get super into the weeds about any of this. I'm just gonna give you general statements of what I did. If you would like to take a deeper dive, then that brings us to today's sponsor, which is Uscreen. I plan to make a course on my workflow from start to finish on how I create my YouTube videos. Uscreen will be the platform that I do this on, and I can recommend it to you because YouTube is a great place to share my knowledge with you all. But what if you want to take your online business to the next level? Uscreen is a platform that helps creators build and grow their online video membership businesses. You can create and launch a membership site for your subscribers to earn recurring, predictable revenue. You can host private live streams for your members, host communities for your most loyal subscribers and fans, sell courses, and even get your own branded TV or mobile app and a bunch of other stuff. My favorite thing about Uscreen is that it has everything in one place. It handles all the video hosting and live streaming, it handles payments and billing, and monthly subscriptions. It even has a mobile and TV app so customers can access content nearly anywhere. You also get access to powerful website themes designed to monetize your videos. It's a quick setup, fully brandable, and no coding skills are required. Uscreen is the platform for building a video membership site. And if you're interested in taking your online business to the next level, check them out. I'll leave a link in the description. Now back to our video. Most of the time, I make bullet points and just print out a sheet of paper. And once I get reading, I start to flow. And then after I'm done with that point, I'll go on to the next bullet point and so on. I usually don't use a teleprompter, but I did on that MacBook video and the recent Lightphone video, and no one said anything. I'm always afraid that if I use a teleprompter, I might come off as ingenuine, but I do believe that if you use a teleprompter, if you practice and you can read it while at the same time being genuine and you master it, then it may be the key to having faster edit times. I don't think it will save much time on the recording portion, or at least it didn't for me, but definitely on the edit side. Okay, so my favorite and most time-saving method of how I was able to get my channel to grow fast is taking that final step after I'm done editing, which is I started to create an archive of footage from all of my previous videos so that I could quickly access them when I'm editing my future videos. I can quickly drag and drop any video clip onto my timeline that I've saved inside this archive. For example, if I was talking about the ZV-1, then I wouldn't have to go back into my hard drives and try to figure out which one it's on. just to get a B-roll clip of something that I shot with the ZV-1. I made an archive of all of the different scenarios of me shooting with the ZV-1, whether it's on the tripod or me hand holding it or on a gimbal, and then I can quickly just drag and drop that clip onto the timeline for whatever relevant point that I'm trying to make. I actually bought a 4TB SSD, and after every single YouTube video is complete, I'll go through the video and pull the relevant raw footage and put it onto my SSD. This way, when I'm editing future videos, I can just drag and drop onto my timeline and it saves a ton of time. This is an extra step because if you're anything like me, after you're done creating a video, it's pretty exhausting, and the last thing that you want to do is go back and organize your folders. You just want to drag the file into a hard drive and leave it for later. But this extra step helps me edit my videos faster and at a higher production value. Now that's just a particular principle that I use for my particular niche, but I believe that anybody who makes YouTube videos, if you're spending time and effort into creating it and finding all this B-roll to add to your timeline, then you don't want to just throw that in a drawer and forget about it. Put it into an archive and label it or tag it however you want, so that when you're making a video in the future and you're talking about the same topic, then you can just drag and drop from your archive onto the timeline. So that's a general overview of how I get my videos to start pumping. But like I said, I could make an entire course on not only this, but every single aspect of making my YouTube videos. If you think that you would sign up for something like that, then let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Joe with the Film Alliance, and until the next one, peace. Another point is to watch your analytics. Watch your audience and how the people respond to whatever content you're putting out. Look at the audience retention and then try to figure out where people start falling off. Then go back to that video and see what it was that made people start to leave. Flex with whatever your audience appreciates. So you might have started a YouTube channel for whatever niche that you're in, and you're realizing that a lot of the videos you're putting out isn't doing what you hoped it to do. Well, start doing a little bit of research. Only do small changes and alterations as you can. Peace.